episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
This is Season 9, Episode 22.
Or Episode 212 if you're counting.
Thank you guys, for coming out here on a Sunday. Well, see that one bit just go flying. For coming out here on a Sunday when Sundays are not typically the days that we do this. We have been all over the place, kind of. Life has been weird, but...
We've had some busy Saturdays.
Some very busy Saturdays, but some of this was kind of good, kind of sudden and kind of out of nowhere. This week, really, really interesting. Very good to see you guys. I just want to say hi.
Yeah, we appreciate it so much that we haven't been on a regular schedule, and you guys are sticking with us, so we appreciate that so much. We know you have many other more world premiere options tonight on some cable network, so we really appreciate you being here live with us right now.
Yes, very much so. Thank you for noticing Blue is happening right now. I just felt like... My shirt is blue. I could do more than that.
You could.
I could do more than that. So I could go with the eyes and with the lips. And it looks terrifying, I understand. But to me, it's fun. Terrifying is a little fun to me. I like getting out of my comfort zone. I think it's great. So good to see you. Good number of people out here on a Sunday rather than our slightly more regular Fridays and Saturdays.
We should explain why we're not doing this yesterday or Friday. That's because, kind of on a moment's notice, because we had a good friend of ours, friend of the show, over at Monstrosities, our friend Matt, who we've worked with before, was like, hey, come on out to this convention, which is a really big monster horror convention.
Monsterpalooza, yeah. And Monsterpalooza shows up in some other cities. Dallas has a Monsterpalooza.
Yes.
I want to say that Chicago has a Monsterpalooza as well. And I know our friend of the show also, Count Jacula, came down here to this one last year.
Yes.
So this is an event that we had never been to before, so we went on Friday along with our friend Matt this year, and it was super fascinating, actually.
Super packed.
Yeah, shockingly, like, maybe I shouldn't be so shocked.
I know, I'm kind of of the same mindset.
That horror is such a big genre, and really a very diverse genre, not just as far as, like, the people they cast, but I mean the broad concepts that horror kind of covers, and monsters.
Casts a wide net.
Casts a very wide net, includes a lot of tokusatsu, quite a lot of tokusatsu fans.
Yes, actually. There at one of the tables was director Steve Wang, who famously worked on the Guyver Dark Hero, my favorite action movie Drive, worked on a little bit of Power Ranger stuff, like... people there in the business, and we were commenting there walking around with Matt how interesting it was compared to any other convention, how easily accessible just the genre was, not just for being a fan of, oh, I really like that art, but actually getting hands-on training of, hey, you want to learn how to make monster masks or do, like, scarred makeup.
Mm-hmm.
There were tons of displays and companies there teaching you how to do these things, how to get the tools there.
It seems like people were just really kind of brushing shoulders with one another and meeting each other in a situation where you could really not only learn from each other, but start to build collaboration.
Get a network going.
You could get a real network going at an event like this. Thank you very much, Spacebird77, for that follow. Really appreciate it. It seemed like people were really approachable. They want to teach, they want to learn, and they want to collaborate and do all kinds of things. What Matt was there for were all these suit actors for the upcoming Godzilla film.
For Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Motion capture artists.
Yes. They had a panel on Friday night.
Very accessible people, those guys.
Oh yeah, they were so gracious.
The three parts of King Ghidorah, and because each individual head is a dude.
Right.
As well as Godzilla himself. Just really fascinating, super fascinating. And of course, all those guys frequently work mocap for video games as well, so that was relevant to our interests too. Very approachable people. Very cool.
And then I actually got to run into my old high school friend who worked on the suit for this weekend's Hellboy movie. I was just talking to Matt about him, and then we turned the corner, and I'm like, oh my god, there he is! He's got a booth here! That was
cool.
Great. I hadn't seen him in years.
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome. Before that, we actually took a tour through Little Tokyo, as we were off to do, and you found some stuff you weren't looking for.
Well, you found them for me.
But they were insta-buys for you.
We covered Sakura Wars on the show a few times, and of course we've done a little bit of playthrough. So 2 figures, both of which were $10 each. This one of just generic Sakura. She looks great. I'm pretty sure both of these figures are specifically from Sakura Taisen 4. No, this one is from Sakura Wars the movie, which is like, it's really more like a one episode OVA, if I'm to be honest. But it doesn't matter. Sakura always looks like Sakura.
She's always wearing that outfit.
Yeah. And similarly, the other one is, the box says it's specifically from Sakura Taisen 4, but she always wears this exact same uniform across the first 4 games.
When she's piloting the Kobu.
Anytime she's piloting her Kobu, it's the exact same outfit, and I love her regardless. And these are used figures. They look amazing.
They look new to me.
Yeah, they
I wouldn't
do.
know the difference unless the sticker said otherwise.
This is not the first time I've bought a used figure from a Japanese seller, and this is just how they keep them. It's amazing.
They're immaculate.
The culture of keeping figures is just such a different concept
Yes.
when you're getting stuff from a Japanese seller. So that was super cool. Super thrilled with that.
Yeah, real happy to be there at the convention. We might actually go back for the full weekend next year because we were surprised just how much stuff was there that we could actually get, one, hands-on training in, and 2, people there that we recognize that we may not have expected to see there and enjoy.
Exactly. Was there anything else going on that we thought was going to be cool to talk about?
Just real quick, just another shout out to Matt over at Monstrosities. If you guys like Godzilla stuff, go check out his YouTube channel. Great stuff over there.
I know last night for a brief amount of time I was playing like this battle basketball game on
Right.
Twitch. I don't know how many people saw that happening. To anyone who did see that happening, my friend Tom, who does weird video games, basically coordinated this really large effort to get as many different Twitch channels streaming the stupid Super Nintendo game at the exact same time to kind of game Twitch's system to say, look how many people are playing this game, because you can click that button and see what's popular.
Right.
And he just picked a stupid game. He wants to do it again sometime in the near future. But that game is terrible. It's really hard to play. I lost every single time. Don't play that game. So that's what else has been kind of going on. Why don't we talk about what we're going to be talking about a little bit later on in the show?
You mean the show?
Yeah, like the actual show topics.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah. Which one were we doing first?
So first up on tonight's show, again, we kind of run into this problem with there being conglomerates out there that own just about everything, so this is kind of a Disney-centric show.
Right.
First up on tonight's docket is going to be the new Lion King footage that we saw released earlier this week. We got a better look at the characters actually talking, and we're going to see how happy we are with the results, comparing it to the original movie.
Exactly.
And there is room for comparison, and not all of it's good.
And we're sandwiching these 2 trailers, yes?
Yes.
Yes, so in the middle of 2 trailer topics is Disney Plus just got a whole lot of details announced about its release, which I believe is later on this year, if I'm not mistaken. So many details. Disney was definitely waiting and wanted to be really sure of themselves when they talked about everything, every single last little detail.
Right.
So many details. I don't know that we'll be able to cover all of it in our little 10-minute block that we're going to give it, but we're going to try.
And then for our last story of the evening, I bought new socks, and we're going to talk about those.
What?
I'm kidding. We're going to talk about Star Wars.
Oh,
We got to
thank
talk
God.
about Star Wars. On Friday, there at Star Wars Celebration, we got our first look at the title and footage for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. So a lot of thoughts on that. Internet going crazy. People, giving their quick takes left and right. We've got ours, and we'll share it with you in our third story.
Definitely, and I'm sure some of you maybe don't want to hear about it. I don't know how you couldn't have heard about it by now, but if you don't want to hear about it, it's the last story, so we'll spare you. You'll know it's coming. Be prepared for it. We'll let you know. Until that point, before we get to those major news topics, we do have some minor stories we want to hit upon. Those are our follow-ups. Josh, you do a real good job with these every week. Why don't you tell me what you found this week?
With the follow-ups. All right, so let's go ahead and get it started. As always, we're always starting with DC news first, going to Marvel, and so on and so forth. So starting out with the DC news, we've got new casting news for the next season of Titans over there on DC Universe. Actor Ian Glenn, who people would recognize as as Ser Jorah Mormont there on Game of Thrones, will be playing Bruce Wayne there on the show, which is interesting considering the only time we saw him in this past season was in... Spoiler, it's a dream sequence. It's not actually him. But he's much older as Bruce Wayne than any live-action Bruce Wayne we've ever seen. Ben Affleck, they're topping out at kind of a late 40s, early 50s. If they're playing to his age, he's 57, making him
crazy.
the oldest Bruce Wayne we've ever gotten on film.
Yes.
So no telling how many episodes he's going to be in, or how that's even going to work, or if he's got a convincing American accent. I know he's usually using his native British accent, but we'll see. I doubt we're actually going to get a British Batman. We've had British Batmans before, but we'll see how he does.
You don't think it's going to be this one?
No. Okay, so moving on. Shazam 2 is moving forward. They've brought back writer Henry Gayden. We knew it was only a matter of time before they confirmed it. So they have brought on Henry Gayden back to write the script again for the sequel.
Great. That first script is great.
We're still getting word back and forth whether or not Black Adam has any sort of involvement, or if it's still the solo movie. We've been hearing things one way or the other. We're waiting for the confirmation that yes, it is a Shazam movie without him. They're still talking about the Black Adam movie. No, as far as we've been aware, Dwayne Johnson is still holding on to the idea that the Black Adam movie is solo, but we're still waiting for more confirmation right now.
Of course.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our Marvel news here. Big news, again, going back to the Disney Plus thing. So one of the shows that's going to be airing there is going to be a new Hawkeye series. Now, this will, of course, have Jeremy Renner back in the role of Hawkeye, but not for very long. According to reports, the plot will revolve around him passing on the mantle of Hawkeye to newer Hawkeye in the comics, Kate Bishop, which I'm really happy about.
Really? I mean, okay. It's a shame that you hype up Jeremy Renner and he's just not really going to be there.
Now, to that end, admittedly, yes, Kate Bishop's a newer character in the comics, but fans are very happy to see her included. They were actually hoping she would show up here in Endgame.
Okay.
But, it's just happy that she's being brought into the universe at all. No word yet on who's being cast as Kate Bishop. We just know she's coming.
Yes.
To that end, also talking about Endgame, Mark Ruffalo has come out saying that they have filmed at least 5 alternate endings for Endgame to throw people off who were trying to scoop out what the ending actually is of the movie.
So, am I also to understand correctly, like Scarlett Johansson, we just watched her on whatever that Hot Ones,
yes.
That YouTube channel. Maybe she doesn't even know which ending they're picking?
No, as far as she's, not everybody got every piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Notably, it has been said before that Tom Holland only got his lines in the script because they were really worried about him spoiling things.
Yeah.
And kind of the same thing for Ruffalo. They probably had him come in for extra days to make sure that he didn't accidentally spoil something as well, which he has been known to do before. All right, moving on to some other news here. Again, going off of Star Wars Celebration going on this weekend, we got our first look at pictures from The Mandalorian. That's the Jon Favreau live-action series that's going to be shown on Disney+. We've got pictures of The Mandalorian, of different characters there. Gina Carano there as a retired rebel shock trooper, looking really Zarya-esque with a giant gun and armor.
Why have you decided these needed to go in the follow-ups rather than in our section about Disney Plus?
Because the Disney Plus stuff is mainly, I wanted to focus on the pricing and what its effect will be on other streaming services.
I'm going to repeat everything you just said.
That's fine.
During that section.
Okay. So moving on to some other news here. We got a first look at it's been announced for a while, the animated The Addams Family movie, which we've got the poster for here.
There's a trailer that's out now.
There is a trailer. I don't like it.
Well, okay, here's my thoughts on it
Yeah,
are
go
that the art is a little bit closer to the original art, the original kind of comic styling, because it came from comics first, not from... I know people think it came from a black and white TV show first. That's not true. It came from art and other comics quite a long time ago. Reminds me very much of the ABC Saturday morning animated series, very much. So to me, it feels familiar. It doesn't necessarily feel wrong. It's just not the one that I prefer.
Well, because the thing about it is, yes, Oscar Isaac in it as Gomez Addams. My thing about it is the accent they've decided to give him as Gomez, because admittedly, we had one other Gomez who kind of had an accent, which is of course Raul Julia, who was great in the role. And before that, for both that ABC animated and the original series, that was John Astin there as Gomez, who didn't have any sort of accent. Which, that's the Gomez I grew up with, so I'm used to him not really having an accent. But here it seems really over-exaggerated.
It's super cartoony. This is really making it even more family-friendly than it's been in a very long time, especially since the animated series. And the animated series, of course, came off the heels of those 90s films.
Right.
Which, of course they were comedic, but I think they were also leaning in extra heavy on the macabre.
Which is what the Addams are.
They are. They absolutely are. And there's some parts of that trailer that looked still a little bit macabre. Morticia is just kind of floating.
Which is fine.
Gliding across the floor. There's spiders or something coming out from under her dress?
Yes.
Or whatever.
My whole thing, and we've talked about this at length before, if you cast Charlize Theron and Oscar Isaac as Gomez and Morticia, why did you make them voices in a movie? They could have just played Gomez and Morticia. It would have been fine. Would have been perfect.
That when they do press for it, they're going to dress up for
Oh,
it.
they friggin' better. Otherwise, I'm going to be sorely disappointed.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much more that can be said about it. Comes out later this year, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, so moving on to some other news here. We do have confirmation that they are moving forward with a sequel to the Tomb Raider movie starring Alicia Vikander, and she will be back as Lara Croft.
Good, because I know people gave that movie a little bit of crap. I think it was unwarranted. I thought it did a perfectly suitable job moving from video game to Hollywood film adaptation.
Yes.
And I think some people thought they felt a little bored by it, maybe. Maybe this next movie, because the first movie's all set up to her becoming, the Tomb Raider.
Right.
Maybe this next movie will be more satisfying to those people, because otherwise I felt like that was it. That was that same Lara Croft from our most recent iteration of Tomb Raider games.
Yes. Okay, moving on to some other news here. Okay, we're going to go into Pokemon news here. So we've got 2 Pokemon movies coming up this year. One, of course, being the live-action Detective Pikachu, of which we got a new commercial this week showing more of the actual Pokemon there in the movie. You can see the texture that they're using to go ahead and make them feel like they're in this world where humans actually occupy. And I'm very happy with the result. I think that I would, even more so than before, want to own or have as a pet my own Psyduck.
Maybe. That Psyduck has, the total wrong voice.
It does have the wrong voice. Because we're used to, Psy.
Really?
The nasal Psyduck.
Yeah, because he's,
Misty Psyduck.
He's clearly so stuck in his own head.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
That noise that came out of that Psyduck did not sound like he was in any sort of pain.
Now, I'm over here you guys have time to fix that. Please do. But that having been said, that's the least of my worries going into Detective Pikachu.
Mm-hmm.
Now, compared to that, we have our other Pokemon movie, which is Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution, which is this...
Me Too Strikes Back?
No, Mewtwo. Mewtwo, not Me Too. I don't want to get flagged by some other bunch of videos here. I'm talking about Mewtwo, the Pokemon. Mm-hmm. We see that CG movie coming out, which is basically just Pokemon, the first movie, done with CG. We just saw a new trailer for that, and it looks... It's verbatim.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And we do see a little bit there of Pikachu and Clone Pikachu getting that really sad slap fight going again.
Because, unfortunately, in that trailer, the way it's edited, it doesn't look sad. It looks silly. And so people, if they have not seen the original film, they're just going to be like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was at all.
Yeah, but everybody who's seen the movie, who grew up with that movie, is going into it like, oh, you're going to make us cry over Ash again?
Yeah.
In 3D?
Yeah.
I have to cry in 3D? Yeah,
cry in 3D?
Yes, we're going to cry in 3D.
Also, I don't know if I would call this 3D. It's CG animation.
It's CG animation.
It's admittedly not flat.
No.
But it's not coming out of the screen either. Maybe they'll make a 3D version where you have to wear glasses.
I would pay for it.
You would?
Yeah.
Eh.
Because I remember what it was like that particular day, because I admittedly am not the biggest Pokemon fan, but my brother was, and the day that movie came out, or rather the weekend it did, we caught the first Saturday showing when Pokemon, the first movie, came out. That lobby was packed with only, a couple of parents, and then a sea of kids ages 6 through 10 who were all there, with hats, and they had their cards out, and it was just this raucous roar of kids. You would swear you were at a Chuck E. Cheese. There were so many kids there, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house when Pikachu's shocking Ash, and it's gonna happen again, but in our time.
In CG.
In CG.
All right.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right. So let's go ahead and move on to some other news
Crying
here.
in 3D.
Crying in 3D. That's what it is. All right. So we've got more information on the new Overwatch event. That's going to start on Tuesday. This is being called Storm Rising. This is another lore event. They've already released most of the skins for this one. We've got a new Bastion skin, a new Soldier skin where he's wearing his uniform dress blues. We saw the new Zarya skin get revealed earlier today.
Dumb. There's nothing. It's nothing.
It's just, there's a little orange on her costume and she's blonde. Kind of disappointing. They really need to stop shafting Zarya.
We already knew she was a blonde. Like, it's not... nope, doesn't mean anything to me. Means absolutely nothing to me.
Now, the best one, of course, being the new McCree skin, the Deadlock Gang skin. People have been asking for that for a while. That's the one I'm going after first. And then a new Moira skin. We don't know who the last one will be. Odds are it's probably going to be either Winston or Mercy since they're involved with the event here.
Right.
But we'll see more of that. That starts on Tuesday, and it goes on till May 3rd.
Great.
All right, so moving on to some other news here, moving to more Tokusatsu things. So one thing that we have here coming up from Kamen Rider, we reported before about the new Kamen Rider Brain spin-off from Kamen Rider Drive. We now have a picture of what Kamen Rider Brain is supposed to look like. You can see him there.
Kind of.
Now, from the looks of it, most of the suits that Toei's been putting out that are with these new spin-offs for like Geo and things of that nature have been kit bashes where they take pieces of older costumes and then just kind of repurpose them. You see it's the same thing with Kamen Rider Shinobi. Here what we're looking at for Kamen Rider Brain, that looks to be a kit bash of the Kamen Rider Chaser helmet just painted green.
That's kind of what it looks like, yeah.
Which is kind of weird because, notably Chaser had a very asymmetrical helmet.
OBS Vinny K, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and of course we'd like to see more. So far, that's all we've got right now is just this kind of half silhouette, but we don't have to wait long. It'll be starting next week, so we'll get more pictures, I assume, over the course of the week, so we have a better look at the costume.
Yeah, cool for the shout out of Big Red Soda also, considering you can only find it in so many places here in Southern California. Just
Yeah, had to bring that love from Texas. And then the last bit of news here, something we reported on, or we heard rumors about. Now we've got confirmation from Warner Brothers in Japan. They will be moving forward with 2 more Rurouni Kenshin movies, and actor Takeru Sato will be back in the role of Himura Kenshin.
It does look like they're moving forward with the manga exclusive Jinshu arc.
Yes.
Which I did a review a couple of years back of Rurouni Kenshin. I think it's we'd be kind of remiss to say, in the news article, maybe it wasn't the appropriate place to say it, but unfortunately, the manga artist Watsuki, he had a bit of a run-in with, unfortunately, some underage children images, and had been arrested, and they let him go, because apparently at some point in the past, it was at one point legal to have those images, and then it wasn't in recent years, and he still had them. So,
yeah, so that's not cool.
That's not cool.
We're not down with that stuff.
This is a moment where you have to decide whether or not you're cool with separating the art from the artist. That having been said, that Jinshu arc is very good. It is incredibly good, and when I reviewed the series as a whole, I remember I was doing the prep for it, and I was reading through all the manga. I was trying to read through it really, really fast, and then I got to the Jinshu arc, and I got to the very last image of it, and I just wept. And I was like, I can't believe how
which a lot of fans
good
did,
this
because
is.
it's the ending you wanted to have for Kenshin. And seeing that we're having the returning cast coming back, no word yet on who will be playing Enishi, but they have described, just short of saying Enishi is in the movie, my hope, for those of you Tokusatsu fans in the audience, I really think Ryoma Takeuchi would be the best choice for Enishi, because he's been hitting the gym like crazy. If you check out his Instagram, he's got the height Enishi needs, and he's more than willing to learn stunts.
Right.
Other than that, I can't think of anybody else that I would want for it. I would want to say Gaku Sano, but he's too short, I think, compared to Takeru Sato.
That makes sense.
But we'll be keeping up with that over the course of the next year. That's going to be 2 movies, just like they did with the last 2 movies with Kyoto Inferno and The Legend Ends. One will be released in the summer, and then one being released at the end of summer or at the beginning of fall.
I am looking forward to it, though.
Yes.
At this point, I feel like this series belongs to Japan. It is such a Japanese cultural thing that has been taken and run with by so many other people, by all these movie developers. Takarazuka did their own take on Rurouni Kenshin at some point. I think that this is a very culturally relevant sort of thing.
Jediah 82, if they had done it maybe 10, maybe even 20 years before, I could see Kane Kosugi in the role. I could.
Losties Girl 2010, thank you very much for the follow. Hope I pronounced that correctly.
But that's all we've got for our follow-ups. Let's go ahead and get started with The Lion King.
Yeah, it was good timing to get started with our actual major stories, so let's make sure, yeah, no other extra background audio going. We got the trailer for Lion King 2019 running in the background here. As far as I can tell, it kind of looks like what they've done is shot a bunch of real-world locations for the majority of it, and then they have animated CG animals on top of those real-world locations.
Right.
So this comes off more like an animated live-action
Like
nature
documentary.
Well, I was gonna say hybrid, as far as, because this is absolutely animated. They don't have real animals in this.
Right.
These are not real animals. So to call this a live-action movie is kind of a misnomer. They look very good, but there's still a little bit of uncanny valley in it, you know?
Well, see, the issue that I'm having that a lot of people have brought up here is, you know, without question, there were going to be comparisons drawn to the original movie, which came in, what, 93, if I'm not mistaken?
It was 93 or 94.
So, you know, you go that far back, and of course it's a beloved movie. Everybody watches it, you know, loves it. And part of the reason you love it is because of the expressiveness of the characters. And the thing is, you hear the voices coming out of these CG creatures, but there's no expression.
We only hear two voices, right? Like, we only hear James Earl Jones and who's playing Scar?
Chitwell Ejiofor.
Okay. And the thing is, I saw somebody make some comparisons like, hey, it's not like real world lions cannot be expressive, and I saw people show some really big, wide-eyed, expressive lions. And for whatever reason, what we see here just doesn't look as expressive as they could possibly look. And I understand that maybe the concern is making them look too theatrical and pushing them into a really unrealistic looking direction. But that having been said, this is a big emotional, dramatic thing. I realize that The Lion King is one of people's most favorite Disney animated films.
It's Macbeth for kids.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, my personal favorite is still Aladdin, but I would say you'd be hard-pressed to find people whose favorites are not either Beauty and the Beast or Lion King from that generation.
Mine was Beauty and the Beast.
I understand that. I totally get it. They're worthy of being people's favorites, for sure. Again, they look very good. So the trailer is playing the sweeping overtures from the original animated feature, and as it's doing that, I'm realizing, yeah, I'm feeling emotional. I feel it, but I'm wondering if it's not just me being tricked by
nostalgia,
and by hearing that old soundtrack. You know, is that what it is, or is this worthy of having my emotions already kind of being played with a little bit?
Well, because the thing of it is, they're banking on the fact that for older audiences, that they're going to hear that and remember and just automatically transplant your feelings of watching the original as a kid over to this one.
That's my concern, yeah.
And that's the thing, yeah, that's going for the nostalgia market. Now, I do appreciate looking at the design that we're seeing here, specifically for Scar. He doesn't look nearly as dark as the color that he had in the animated one, but I see that they're playing him thinner, looking more kind of malnourished, which makes sense in the context of the movie.
Sure. Well, that's how he looked in the original animated film.
See, I always thought he was comparable, like he wasn't as big as Mufasa, but he was of similar stature.
No, he wasn't built the same. He was definitely not built the same. And if they're trying to go for a realistic lion also, I know you mentioned his dark coloration in the original animated feature. The lions don't have manes that dark. dark. It doesn't happen. They don't come out dark brown or black like that.
Losty Girl, yes. John Oliver is playing the role of Zazu, who we do see there landing in front of Simba. We didn't hear any lines out of him yet.
See, that's another thing that I was disappointed by with this trailer. Like, I know they want James Earl Jones to really sell this. Clearly, that's what they're hoping for. They're hoping that you hear James Earl Jones, you see Lion King footage, you think, this is going to be just as good as my childhood. But we got a different sounding Scar, so that's their first step into, okay, let's try and ease them into the sound of some different people. I would like to actually hear, like, I'm shocked people aren't clamoring, like, where's our Beyonce? People are not, like, shouting, like, why can't we hear Beyonce yet? I haven't seen anybody make that complaint.
Oh, I've seen that complaint.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I figured that must be something people are saying. I don't really care that much.
Because the thing about it is, I understand they're holding on to some stuff here. Because we've got Donald Glover as adult Simba. We've got Beyonce there as adult Nala. People are simmering, waiting to hear their rendition if they were to sing Can You Feel the Love Tonight.
Sure, yeah.
Because, you could do that, just like you do in the Broadway version. Hear them sing it, and we know they can sing.
Yeah.
That's not a question. People want that. And wanting to see that interplay, because those are notably it's a great cast you've got here. You got John Connie there as Rafiki, you got back James Earl Jones, you got Beyonce, you got Donald Glover, you got Billy Eichner, you got Seth Rogen. It's a big cast.
It is.
And we want to hear more of them, and it makes me wonder if they're not a little gun shy.
You think so? You think they're scared of people being turned off by it not being the identical thing that they grew up and knew and loved?
Well, because the thing that works so well about an animated feature, just like Aladdin with Robin Williams and just like the original Lion King with Nathan Lane, is the fact that you can get the expressiveness of that voice through an animated face, matching all of those different sounds that they're making.
That's true.
And so you want to hear... You want to see what you're hearing. You want the visuals to match up with the audio.
Thank you very much. I will not be reading your name out loud, but I especially appreciate you being here, Mr. Down.
Yes, BC Down.
BC Down.
So the thing of it is, I imagine if they were smart and they had that kind of time, they would have made two different renders, because they've got that kind of money, to do a more animated-looking expression on the animals' faces, and then the more Disney documentary version, which is what we're seeing.
Right.
And the thing about it is, I imagine they're going on the whole thing of, well, let's go with the documentary version because it looks more realistic. But the thing that I think might bite them in the butt is that that's not what anybody wants.
True.
They want the original again, just a
Yeah.
little different. Which is a complaint you would even get out of Star Wars. Like, we want the original, just a little different.
Well,
But no,
of
not
course,
like that.
But that's what we got, and then people complained anyway. See, that's the thing, though, and we've made this comment, too, about the upcoming, I have to put it in quotes because I don't think it's actually happening, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, okay? Like, you remake something, people absolutely, they want the exact same thing again, but you can't get that again. It already exists.
Because
whatever changes you make, somebody is going to be pissed. Some people are going to be like, this was a positive change, and then everybody else is going to be like, why did you ruin the exact one perfect thing that I always loved about it?
Because let's put it into context here. You compare the original, it's animated, you're willing to make conceits there because it's an animated movie. It's not meant to be taken seriously. And you look at nature documentary Lion King that we're getting here. Need I remind anybody, baby lion cubs don't have opposable thumbs and can't swing on vines. You'll let that slide in an animated version, but if that's a real lion that you're going to tell me needs to swing on a vine, you tell me how you're going to sell that, Disney.
That's a very good point. Basically, any of the Timon and Pumbaa kind of section of this.
Timon's the only one that's going to be able to get away with anything.
The just can't wait to be king section. Like, can you just imagine this really choreographed looking African Pride Land? Just
because
the environment.
think about it. There's only two ways you can go with it. You can either make it look like the original, and they're doing things that we have to all agree as an audience. We know those animals can't do that, but I'm here to be entertained. Suspension of disbelief. Or you try to make it...
The Advent Children argument.
Or you go the really realistic version, and it just looks like the African version of the Westminster Dog Show. They're just going in circles. They're not really doing a lot because they're trying to be realistic. And then that looks hella disappointing.
Because then you gotta also think, what are they gonna do for example, be prepared? Are they going to have hyenas goose-stepping?
Exactly!
Goose-stepping hyena. Realistic, not real.
Realistic.
The realistic hyenas goose-stepping. I have to imagine that maybe this is gonna be like Wanna Be Like You from the Jungle Book, and it's like a totally different musical rendition. They're not gonna do goose-stepping hyenas again.
They better not.
I just feel like they're not gonna do that this time. It's not 1994 anymore.
It's like, Disney, watch yourself. Because, read the room, basically, is what I'm saying to Disney. Read the room. Mm-hmm. And when I say read the room, I mean us out here who are going to pay money to watch this thing, not you there in the room that decided going this route was a good idea.
And again, I'm not necessarily even saying that what I'm looking at looks terrible. It's that they haven't shown enough to make me, feel relief yet.
Right.
They're definitely still hiding things. They're doing it on purpose. When is this supposed to come out again?
In May.
In May. So it's not that much farther away.
No, it's not. And
why are they still hiding so much?
I think they're scared.
You think they're scared?
Well, because think about it. Comparatively speaking to, say, Aladdin, yeah, they held back on the genie a bit, and then they saw what the fan reaction was, and they're like, okay, July. It's coming out in July.
That's only 2 months, man.
But you think about it, with that, they saw the fan reaction like, we want to see Genie. And then they're like, okay, crap, next trailer, we got to put Genie in there. We got to show him in both ways, human and Genie. And then people are like, okay, all right. And then they call people...
Well, it helped.
It helped.
It helped.
It helped more than it hurt. But then we were hearing snippets of the songs, we were seeing people singing, and we got a better feel for, okay, you're doing it, but just slightly different. All right, I can see that. It's worth my money.
But Aladdin's still not coming out till when? It's after this.
It's after, if I'm not mistaken. So, but the thing about it is with both movies, people know these soundtracks. You're an example of that specifically. Like, how many times you told me you put those soundtracks as a kid on repeat on cassette? Mm-hmm. Like, people know these songs.
Yeah, I listened to it on cassette, on repeat. I was that kid. And I was also that crazy kid that, I had a sound system, a tape deck sound system, and my VCR and the TV, and I would, I would just do something so stupid, try and sync up my cassette soundtrack with the movie while it's playing. There's no reason to do that. I was just I just want this all playing all at the same time.
You're trying to create stereo.
I thought I was doing something really cool or clever or creative, having it all play together at the exact same time. And sometimes one tape would play out of sync from the other because the tapes don't play at the same speed all the time, and so I'd have to go, stop play, in order to keep them synced up.
You're just being difficult.
So what I'm saying is that I played them to the point of exhaustion. That is what I'm trying to tell you. So if I was like that, I know other kids approximately my age were like that. They're going to be the most critical of this. Maybe Disney should be a little worried.
Because the thing of it is, what's gonna save this thing is that if we're not sold by the visuals, the only thing that's gonna save this thing is the new recording.
Yes, I would agree.
Because that's different enough to be like, okay, that's a new product for this thing. Mm-hmm. So you guys have until July to start giving us a little taste of what this sounds like. And we're not getting enough of that.
No, they just keep giving us the stuff that looks and sounds the most like what we remember.
And you remember, and I want to end off on this so we have enough time to talk about the rest of it. You remember in the ads for Beauty and the Beast, they didn't put in a lot of Emma Watson singing?
Yeah, there was a good reason for that.
And there was a good reason for that. I'm wondering if that's not the case here.
God, I hope
but
that's not
by that same token, why would you not want to have some of your good singers, Donald Glover and Beyonce, put them out there?
You know they had to be able to sing okay. What is the issue?
Yeah, exactly.
So
we'll have to see. So we've got until July. Disney, that's one strike. Don't get any more.
Don't get any more.
I liked that movie originally.
All right. That's enough of that. We're going to move into some Disney Plus territory.
Disney Plus.
And actually, I'm going to go ahead and pull up some information that I kind of sent myself here. Because Disney
So-
Plus. So this was this during Star Wars Celebration that
It
this
was
got
just
announced?
before.
Okay, I mean it all makes
I
sense.
mean, leading into.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing to get across is that Disney Plus now has a price point, which is a very competitive price point compared to, say, Netflix or Hulu or any other streaming service that you might use, Amazon. They're going at $6.99 a month.
It's competitive. It is competitive. And,
Especially in light of Netflix having just raised their rates.
well, the thing is, though, you know it's not going to stay at $6.99.
Oh, hell
long.
no.
There's no way they're going to stay at $6.99 for long. They're also going to give you the option to pay for it yearly for an annual subscription,
which is about the same.
Yeah, it's fairly fair. You know, they made a list of just tons and tons of stuff that they're going to release on this platform. Mind you, not all of it is going to be available at launch, but I do believe, like you were talking about The Mandalorian
The
earlier,
Mandalorian will be available at launch.
Mandalorian will be available at launch. Also available at launch is stuff like High School Musical, the series.
That just sounds redundant.
They're doing that on purpose, you know that. Stuff like WandaVision, which is
The Scarlet Witch Vision series.
that's not going to be available immediately. That's within the first year period, somewhere around there. At launch is going to be Spark Shorts, just a ton of Pixar animated shorts, stuff like that. Monsters at Work, I'm really kind of interested in seeing that. They're bringing back Billy Crystal. They're bringing
And John
back John Goodman. Not at launch, but it's coming. And just on and on and on. Clone Wars is coming back. We've got Marvel's What If series.
They did announce the first episode for that. That's going to be what if Peggy Carter had taken the super soldier serum and become Captain America.
Lady and the Tramp is getting its own live-action series, I suppose. That's available at launch. I heard the other day people were trying to just type out Lady and the Tramp on Twitch, and Twitch, blocked it because tramp is not a good word, and maybe we can't be calling things Lady and the Tramp anymore. Oh, the Phineas and Ferb movie, I know that matters to some people that maybe pay attention around here every so often.
I like Phineas and Ferb well enough.
They're cute. Not available at launch, but sometime within the first year. There's just so many things. Not to mention all of their already pre-existing licenses. A whole bunch of their own animated films, just about all of the Pixar animated films, pretty much all the Star Wars films, pretty much all the Marvel films.
Just about everything they took off every other streaming service.
A whole bunch of television series. This includes a bunch of the Disney Afternoon. So you're talking 87 DuckTales and Goof Troop. We got some Kim Possible in there. Oh man, those Mickey Mouse shorts that have been going around lately.
The newer ones.
What happened? Yeah.
What happened?
The Simpsons. When we heard that they were gonna put Simpsons on this, they're like, it's gonna be all the Simpsons. And
No, they said every episode of The Simpsons will be on this platform, and the first thing we thought was, no, I'm thinking there's at least 2 episodes you're not gonna put on there.
At least.
At least.
Yeah, we can think of a couple that have...
Very specific to one more recently and one they haven't played in a while.
I think it's worth noting, because you were just talking about Netflix also.
Yes.
The stock for Disney, specifically after Disney Plus got announced, just skyrocketed, and then Netflix just
tanked.
Bombed.
And, people throw around all the time with, Hulu and Amazon Prime, Stitch, whatever other platform, saying, oh, this one's going to be the Netflix killer. This may, in fact, be the actual Netflix killer.
You think so?
Well, yeah, because at this point, one, they're charging about half of what Netflix is charging now, even with a new subscription. They've got this wide breadth of content, and most people will have maybe 2 services, if that. And people don't like being stretched thin. And for people with families, that have a lot of kids, or you just really love cartoons, you want to go with all those cartoons you know and love and grew up with.
It sort of seems to me, especially because Disney now is the majority shareholder of Hulu. They own 60% of Hulu. I feel like there should be some sort of discount between both of those platforms.
You would think.
You would think, right? But they don't actually own Hulu. They don't own every single property that is on Hulu. And I've got some gripes with Hulu. Hulu. You know, I don't like that we pay for Hulu service, but you still have to watch advertisements. I remember back in the day, back in my day, we didn't have to pay for Hulu. We sat through the commercials because that's what made it free. You know, but that's not the case anymore. Now I'm paying for it, and I'm getting commercials. That's pretty crummy, Hulu.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty crummy.
And the thing of it is, you know, with all of these different services, yeah, you've got your major things. You got your Disney, you got your Pixar, you got your Star Wars, you got your Marvel. That's a good chunk of just pop culture.
Yes.
Under one roof. And people have been making the notices known that, hey, that's a lot of stuff. Can we, like, not sell more things to Disney? I know they got deep pockets.
Because so long as Disney does keep buying up properties, that is probably what is eventually going to kill something like Netflix. If they own everything, then there is no reason for Netflix. But also, if they own everything, then that makes you feel like, hey, we've got everything. You'll give us more money, right? And that's exactly when Disney Plus...
That's what a monopoly is.
Well, and that's when Disney Plus is going to raise their prices on their services.
Well, because I imagine with something like this, the first year with that low price is going to sound pretty good, but you got to think ahead and you got to read that fine print.
Yeah.
Because if not that, they'll probably do something to trick people for maybe about a 2-year run. And then I wouldn't say longer than 48 months. Any longer than 48 months, you will definitely see a price hike.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And the thing about it is, you will have to see the other companies scrambling to figure out, well, how do we combat this? Do we combat with original content? Do we combat with lowering prices because we already raised them so much? Like, how are people going to respond to this? And people have to respond to this. You can't just not do anything.
Yeah.
Because at this point, with that much stake in the game, with that many IPs under their roof, people are very tempted by this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would be willing to give them 2, maybe 3 months at that price.
Maybe.
My concern is how quickly are they going to decide to rate hike. Also, the balance of what is available at launch versus
how long you gotta wait.
How long you gotta wait for other stuff. Like, I'm really interested in things like this untitled Walt Disney Imagineering documentary series. So you're talking about, this is a thing that's available at launch. Never before seen footage from Disney theme parks about how they make some of these attractions. That's really interesting.
Now, there's one thing there on the list that I'm really interested in, just on title alone.
The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
Available at launch.
Which is basically Jeff Goldblum narrating, like, documentary series about, you know, the forest and nature and things. But it's Jeff Goldblum, and you just want to hear him talk.
But then Marvel's What If, I saw a lot of people really excited about that, not available at launch. They say within the first year, are you willing to wait that long? And if you do wait that long, are you going to still get that introductory price?
And see, here's the thing that I hold on to, and I think one of the things that would help the most is people who still have hard copy media will hold out. Because if you already have your built-up Disney collection, you don't need the streaming service. I mean, admittedly, the convenience does help.
Well, but sure, but the excitement of things like The Mandalorian really helps, too, because that's not going to be on DVD for quite some time, if ever.
True,
you know?
True. So yeah, it's really tempting at the price point.
Because that's how they get you. They've got exclusives.
Yes.
It's the exclusives that you can't even buy that are going to be what's going to tempt people to come to this platform.
And you know they're going to have people patrolling for illegal piracy uploads.
Oh, sure. Disney's not going to...
Disney doesn't screw around with that.
They're not going to mess with that.
So yeah, that's going to be really, really hard to resist, especially... if you're already paying for Netflix, if you just started paying for, like, DC Online or CBS Access.
We also do, like, Crunchyroll and Verve, you know?
So, you know, that's a lot. You know,
It's almost paying for TV service. Mind you, a TV service doesn't give us everything we want anymore.
But then again, now we're getting to the point that neither does streaming. So it's a tie. We both lose.
Everybody loses all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. What a strange time to be alive, where you used to complain, oh, I just need to go up to the highest TV tier package, and that has everything. Don't live in a world that simple anymore.
No, unfortunately
we
not.
thought, oh, it's just so hard to not have the right TV package. No, we didn't know how easy it was.
We didn't know.
We really didn't know.
We didn't even know. But let's go ahead and move on to our last story, which is my socks.
Your socks.
I'm kidding. It's The Rise of Skywalker.
It's The Rise of Skywalker.
So this
Star Wars Episode 9 and got a trailer.
We got a title.
Got this trailer drop during Star Wars Celebration. The panel was hosted by Stephen Colbert. They brought out a whole bunch of the actors. There's a couple of actors that were like, hey, who's your character? What did they do? Oh, we can't say, like, anything.
JJ, can I say anything?
No. It was kind of a strange panel because it was like, yep, we're all here. We can't really say anything.
In the grand scheme of things, wasn't that different from the last time they had the panel for The Last Jedi.
That's true. It is true.
So what we're seeing here is new footage there of Rey in a desert setting. We don't know what planet, but it's very kind of north by northwest. She's being chased down by, we're presuming, Kylo Ren there in his modified TIE fighter.
Well, admittedly, we don't see his face. We do see some gloves. It kind of looks like it's his shape. It's probably him, but is there a reason we don't see his face? Maybe there's something going on with his face. We don't know.
Not as far as we're aware, because there were stills released during the panel. We do see Kylo Ren there. It does look like his scar kind of cleared up, so good for him. We see him right there, you know, mowing down people with his makeshift lightsaber. He's put his Darth Vader-esque helmet back together. And, you know, we see Lando coming back here. A lot of the crowd very happy to see Lando. Billy D. Williams there back in the role. There at the panel, Stephen Colbert was asking him, so how hard was it to get back into character? And Billy D. just says, oh, Lando never left me.
Oh, yeah, the audience ate that up.
Yes.
Of course, during the trailer, you've got the sweeping overture of Leia's theme, which I'm wondering whether or not they did on purpose, but we do see...
You know they did it on purpose.
We do see a glimpse of Leia,
hugging
the
Rey.
hugging, the crying. I wonder if they did it on purpose or not, because there have just been other times in recent Star Wars history where they're just playing, like, Luke's theme, Leia's theme, Yoda's theme, and it's just playing because it feels right in the moment, not because Luke, Leia, or Yoda are in the picture in that moment.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's hard to say. But it did kind of feel right for this trailer, I think.
And, of course, the big thing that, you know, people... You can't hear it right now, but it's there. At the very end of the trailer, we hear a very familiar laugh before we see the title revealed. And in case you didn't already know or you've been hiding under a rock with your ears plugged up, that's Emperor Palpatine's laugh.
Yeah, oh, we were screaming when that laugh came up.
We're just like, ah!
Like, it's just so identifiable, you know.
And then they brought out Ian McDiarmid there after the trailer had run once.
So clearly, yeah, he's to say, play it again. So it's obvious that in some way, shape, or form, he has returned. The question is how? Is he actually, actually alive? Is he a Force ghost?
Is he a clone?
Has he embodied somebody else? Because he's, I guess...
Like, how extended universe are we going here? That's the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it looks like, when we get near the end of that trailer, when they're across a body of water from something that appears to be the Death Star 2...
Well, we don't know which Death Star it is.
Yeah, well, yeah, it could just be the original Death Star, but it does appear to be like a portion of a Death Star or something. Maybe it isn't, though. Maybe...
Now, my whole thing about that is, clearly that's the Death Star. You know, we're seeing the outline of, you know, the port where the beam would come out of. Now, my whole thing is that Rey has to rebuild a lightsaber after the events of the last movie. And remembering, you know, your Star Wars movie, specifically with Rogue One, they reveal that Kyber crystals, the same thing that power a lightsaber, are what they use to power the Death Star's main weapon. So maybe Rey's having to trek there to get a new Kyber crystal to repair her lightsaber.
I mean, maybe. That is... it's possible. Again, these are just theories.
But by that same token, if it's Death Star 2 specifically, that's the last time we saw Palpatine in Return of the Jedi, and by definition, we didn't see a body.
See, but how pissed would you be if you're Anakin, you're dead, you threw the biggest bad guy in the universe down a reactor shaft, you died, and he didn't? Like, how pissed would you as Anakin be?
Well, because the thing about it is, like, Anakin succumbed to his wounds from the fight, you know, losing the arm, fighting off Luke, expending that much energy. And you remember there was that energy plume coming up when we presumed the Emperor hit the bottom, or however that works.
And then the whole thing blew up, so it's like he should have died twice over.
That's not what blew up the Death Star. Lando was what blew up the Death Star.
I understand that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he went down the shaft, and then at some point later, the Death Star blew up with him on it. Unless he fell out the bottom somewhere. I don't know. Maybe he just fell through space, because space totally works like that. You just fall.
Yeah, but
I guess.
I hate having to look at it this way because you just brought it up. Technically, the last movie sets a precedent for somebody surviving in the cold vacuum of space.
Yeah, for a few seconds. And you know what? Even science hasn't proven that you instantly die if you hit the cold vacuum of space.
It's just a very clear, you will die very quickly.
Probably.
If it's not 1 second, it might be 2. Point being, it's going to be some kind of BS when it comes to Palpatine.
It is, and yet at the same time, I can't look away.
No, I can't.
I just can't. I've had some people have. There's so many theories we can be discussing, especially
which we will talk about in the post show.
In the post show, but like what if he is somehow force ghosted? Like, what if he did find the secret to life after speaking to
Darth Plagueis,
Plagueis the Wise? What if then Anakin shows up and is like, hey, first, let me go talk to Kylo Ren. Hey, stop being a dick. I changed my mind. I'm not a dick, so stop being a dick and stop worshiping me like that. Second of all, Palpatine, we need to get rid of you for real.
I've been hearing...
And then they get the ultimate Vader versus Palpatine fight that never happened.
So you do want a Force Ghost fight?
I don't know. Maybe
I want a Force Ghost fight. I want to see...
Like, imagine the Palpatine that fought Yoda versus the Darth Vader that came tearing through Rogue One at the end of Rogue One. Imagine those two going after each other.
Because there have been rumors, and I'm not saying they're real one way or the other. There have been rumors that Hayden Christensen shot something for this.
No!
I can't substantiate that. I'm just saying I heard something. I don't know if it's real or not. If he did, I'm just saying that would redeem him for everybody. Because if it was a giant Force Ghost fight with Ewan McGregor, with Hayden Christensen, and Mark Hamill against Ian McDiarmid in the ether as Force Ghosts, that would be the tightest stuff I've ever seen. It would be so pimp. I wouldn't even care what's happening to everybody else, even though I really do want to see like this this Finn Poe thing where they want to go with that. Poe out here looking like freaking Nathan Drake.
Now, mind you, when Palpatine fought Yoda, I was like, this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen. I hated it the second I saw it. And yet, but that's because they were playing with history, you know? I felt like, nah, this shouldn't be how it goes down. But now that we're making new history, oh, they can do that. They can do that now. Now it's
so that's where you're coming with. Okay.
Now it's fine because they can do new things.
Now, I don't want to focus so much on the old stuff. I do want to see these new characters. I want to see what they're doing with Rose now.
Yes.
I'm really proud of seeing that the audience there gave her a standing ovation for Kelly Marie Tran when
God
she came
bless
out.
her. Yeah,
putting up with so much crap. And, you know, there was nothing wrong with her character.
No, not at all.
I mean,
didn't deserve everything that happened to her last year, not in the slightest.
Yeah.
She was in tears with that standing ovation, and oh God, just yes.
Yeah, give Rose Tico a bigger part. I'm here for it. That having been said, we've also got a new character there, played by Naomi Harris, who may or may not, they're teasing it, may or may not be related to Lando. They haven't said too much more about her character beyond that. JJ saying that the whole cast goes on a journey together. We don't know why. They won't tell us. But this is coming in December, and it's the end of an era.
It is.
And the thing about it is people are trying to figure out, well, okay, why did they say The Rise of Skywalker? Why did they choose that as the title? Is that Rey taking on the name? Other people bringing up, well, what's the counterpoint to that? What if it's Kylo Ren accepting the Skywalker in him?
That's possible. Or, like, what if the idea of Jedi is really totally nullified, and instead Force-sensitive people who maybe this is where the idea of a gray Jedi comes in, who's, like, not so strictly good and definitely not Sith, so not so strictly evil, but somebody who comes to their own decisions in the ways that they use the Force. Is that what being Skywalker means?
You mean it becomes terminology, not a name? Yeah,
maybe an ideology, a terminology, or even a rank And maybe not even necessarily, because I feel like if Rey ends up being a blood relation Skywalker,
People are gonna be pissed.
people will be pissed.
I will be pissed.
People would be pissed.
But I think it's just, it works better if somebody accepts it as an ideology, like Rey doesn't have a last name, so she just kind of takes on the last name. Or if Kylo Ren finally comes to himself and embraces that line of blood in him for the right reasons. Not, oh, I'm this giant emo Sith Lord. I'm somebody who was conflicted and then learned how to deal with it.
Right.
Because that runs through me. So we're going to see all this come to fruition in December. Those tickets will probably be the only other tickets in history that will rival the Endgame sales.
Oh, probably. More than likely, yeah.
Because, whereas Endgame, those tickets outsold everything 5 times over within a very short amount of time, that's been built up over 10 years. This has been built up since 1977.
Over 40, yeah.
Over 40 years. And people have been waiting literally their entire lives to see the saga come to a close. It's not going to be pretty that day when Fandango lets us know, hey, these tickets are up.
Yikes. Yeah. I both am and am not looking forward to it at the same time.
No.
No.
So good luck to you when that time comes. But for right now, I'm not going to lie. This gives me the fizz.
It does. It does.
Absolutely.
And I know some people were really burned by Episode 8. I understand that. I didn't hate Episode 8, but I understand why people were burned by it. That having been said, this trailer, it's bringing people back in who were burned by it and didn't know how to feel about it. I hope it means something good. I hope it does.
But that's going to do it.
Let's, thank you, John, very much for the host, and thank you so much to everybody for watching with us on a Sunday night. Thank you for being with us, because we don't typically do it on a Sunday night. If you're still here with us right now, please stick around. We're about to do another half an hour, where we just talk to you guys for Q&A time. If you are not with us live right now, thank you so much for watching over on YouTube later on, but it would be really cool if you could come down and join us. We have typically done it on Friday nights. Admittedly, we've been jumping around the weekends a little more maybe than we should, but if you follow over on twitch.tv/MarsGirl, and you just hit follow, you'll get the notifications when we go live, and then you will be able to join everybody over here in this chat and get that half an hour of Q&A that otherwise you never get to see.
And, of course, during the week, you can always follow us over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at JoshKnight1st.
And I'm at MarsGirl.
And that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We will see you guys again next episode.
Thank you, everybody.